Good day, fellow investors. I recently made a few videos about Alibaba and investing in China, and also shared my investing in China framework, so you can check all those videos in the link in the description below. But I've received a lot of comments discussing Alibaba's share price, and I really wanted to do this video just before tomorrow's earnings, because earnings are an unknown. We never know how Wall Street will react, but that holds for any stock and for any period in the future. And I really want to give you my perspective here on the share price movements up and down, longer term, shorter term, because a lot of comments went around it, and I think you can really get a lot of value from going deeper into this subject, not only for Alibaba but also for all other stocks. If you get value from this, please crash that Alibaba stock like button. So let's immediately start with discussing, and Emin wrote here a really nice comment how in 8 months Alibaba could still be in the low 200s, while other companies like GM are up 40%. And that's how fund managers have to therefore sell Alibaba and buy other things that are hot. And Emin is here really on point, because that's how Wall Street, how the stock market works. But that's also the biggest advantage we retail investors have. We don't have to follow what Wall Street does. We don't have to follow the 20–30% GM up this, GM up that. That's a crazy game. You lose your brain after a few months of doing that. We can invest in fundamentals as value investors, and that's exactly what I want to discuss. And it will give you also clearer perspective on where Alibaba's stock price will go. Anything can happen. So analysts had average estimates of 330 just a while ago, and now it's already 290. Do you have any idea why this is happening? Mario asks. Well, that's exactly what analysts do. They don't really make analysis based on fundamentals. They're usually 99% of the cases, their estimates follow the stock price. If the stock price goes down, their estimates also go down. So I would never give much value to analyst estimates. As Steve says, if Alibaba goes to 400 plus, you would soon see estimates of 500. And then Satoshi Nakamoto says, really nice, and this is likely the perspective most have. So Alibaba can go much lower, Chinese issues, and it can drop to 150. And that's something I think, yes, it can even go to 100, as I said in the video, but that's exactly what makes the difference between investing and speculating. Alibaba stock can crash to 100, as it crashed already 40% since November. It can crash even more in the next 8 months. That's not an issue. We can have slower than expected earnings, we can have more Chinese issues, we can have trade wars, whatever. We can have delisting. That's something I will want to discuss in the next video. So the next video will be about delisting and the VIE structure that has also received a lot of comments. The key is that a lot can happen, and you never know whether the sentiment in the next 8 months, 10 months, 2 years will be positive or negative. Another example, do you think the Communist Party will allow Alibaba to comply with the Accounting Act that is necessary for Chinese companies to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange? That's irrelevant for me. I will likely exchange all my stocks with a click that my broker offers just to Hong Kong, and I have solved this issue. But the delisting, if it happens, it can really push Alibaba to 150, 100, as all the US exposure has to dump the shares on the market. That's also possible, so that's something to keep in mind. Biden's directive, and then on the other hand, Baba can also go to the moon. That's a given. And here we come to my estimation. So my estimation in the Alibaba analysis video was that most likely Alibaba will be a 2x to 10x over the next decade. And this comment from Integra says that that's a very broad estimation. Yes, I can see the future. I try to assess the risk and reward by having a model, a framework, a valuation model, and then see how the risk and reward of the stock price now fits my investing framework. If we go to my comparative table, this is the free one. The premium one with all my detailed analysis and in-depth stocks is on my stock market research platform. You can check both. But if we go here and if we look at Alibaba, in this case we have taken cash flow per share, we have the growth rates, and we have the intrinsic values, but let's focus on the values in 2030, possible values. So we can have $800 per share. If the market is a little bit more exuberant, in the best case scenario, let's say $1,500 per share, and if it really ends up terribly, we can have $378 per share. All positive outcomes. So that's the 2x to 10x outcome. This is 5x, but it's possible that it can also be 10x. Nobody knows whether the growth rate will be 30% or 15%. But what I focus is on that it's very unlikely that I lose money. I cannot be smarter to know whether it will be 5x or 2x or 10x. Nobody can estimate that. This is the best I can do. Yes, it's very broad, but the risk is limited and the reward is pretty high, and that's investing for me. And then I really wanted to give a comment on the short term. I really don't know whether the stock will be 50% higher as it was in the next 10 months, or it will be another 3 years for it to catch up, or it will catch up only in 2029. That's really impossible for me to know. But that's not investing, that's speculating. We like to expose ourselves, our portfolios, to owning businesses and then see how those businesses from a valuation standpoint fit our investment requirements. And that's the key also with Alibaba. I don't know where the stock will be in 6 months, a year, 2 years. That's impossible to know. What I know, and I feel differentiates me from all the rest of the crowd there on YouTube, is I know that if Alibaba continues to develop its business, both in China and globally, increase earnings, increase revenues, sooner or later on these valuations the stock price will follow. In the meantime, I have to adjust my strategy, accumulate over time, and accept the volatility, which is not risk. Business risk is something else that we'll discuss in the next video. So I'm also preparing a 10 video series on this portfolio exposure, sentiment. So please subscribe to this channel, check all the other videos mentioned in the link in the description below, my research platform Alibaba, and I'll see you in the next video.